Cape York Natural Resource Management is a community-owned and based organisation. Cape York's NRM's vision is all about its landscapes, the health of its landscapes, the well-being of its people and the diversity of its economy. It's part of the legacy that the initial board wanted to leave, to build that capacity on Cape York. The Cape York NRM does work through partnerships. I've been involved now for 7 years. This is the 7th annual report, and the change that's taken place over that time on Cape York and within this organisation is quite phenomenal.
Cape York NRM receives funding through a variety of sources. We receive funding from the Australian Government through the National Landcare Program and also through the State Government through its NRM program. We also receive investment from DAF through their Queensland Feral Pest Initiative, and recently we've been able to secure philanthropic investment from the Nature Conservancy. We also get a lot of in-kind contributions coming from the Cape York community. Over $4 million of investment was received at Cape York NRM this financial year. We had 11 grants in and 70 grants out to the community to deliver on-ground works in Cape York. 80% of that investment went out onto the ground with projects and people in Cape York. 20% of that investment enables us to provide that expertise and support services to enable people to reach best practice and exceed that.
Fire is probably the most single important factor influencing the health of the Cape York landscape, economic viability and also social and cultural values. So it's vital that we continue working in this area. One of the really positive outcomes we're seeing is the collaboration between increased Indigenous burning and also other ecologically informed burning from rangers, ecologists, graziers. So yeah, getting that knowledge to burning on ground is really good to see.
Cape York NRM pride ourselves on the engagement that we do on ground. We've continued to support the Wenlock River Catchment Group and their management committee through continued training and also through capacity building for the management committee. This year has seen the implementation of the Cape York Keep It Clean campaign, which is part of the Cape York Thoughtful Travelling program. Thoughtful Travelling Cape York is a group of people from all over Cape York, land managers, businesses, individuals who are interested in reducing rubbish on the Cape and the impacts of people travelling. One of the great projects that we did this year was through funding from the State Government through the Department of Natural Resource Management, when we worked with Jubbulbinna Aboriginal Corporation on their fire planning. Together we sat down and we worked out the best way to present their plan, their fire plan, so that they could actually use it well in their day-to-day work.
Cape York is extremely remote. It costs a lot of money to be able to undertake on-ground works, and building the capacity of local people to do that means that that cost is cut right down. An example of that has been the amazing work that the NPA Rangers have been able to achieve with gamba grass reduction. So it makes sense that the people who are living there have the skills and the resources to be able to do the job themselves. Our other priorities are threatened species, so to reduce the impacts to threatened species, and works that we've done in that space include around the Jardine River turtle and of course all of the fabulous work that the West Coast Turtle Threat Abatement Alliance do in their actions to conserve marine turtles. We have a number of listed threatened species in Cape York, and we're really excited that the new program will allow us to invest more in threatened species recovery. We continued our investment into weeds of national significance, so I've already mentioned the gamba grass work, but there's also hymenacne work. There's a fantastic project that has been going for the last 3 years on the Lucan River to control rubber vine. Getting in and working with the traditional owners and the pastoralists together over the last 3 years, we've been able to traverse the whole length of the Lucan River and control 5 kilometres either side. An aerial survey was undertaken earlier in the year and no rubber vine was seen flowering. On the west coast we do a lot of weed work as well with the communities there, and a lot of feral animal control work. The other big achievements that we had this year was getting more resources onto our atlas. So we were able to develop a grasses of Quincan country. That's a particular land zone type in Cape York, and so being able to work in collaboration with both the Tropical Herbarium and with Bush Blitz, we were able to achieve a cost-effective grasses guide to Quincan country in Cape York.
During the financial year, the Queensland Government and Australian Government have invested over $1 million to improve water quality through Cape York NRM projects. Water quality is an important issue in Cape York, particularly for the eastern side of Cape York, for the sections that flow to the Great Barrier Reef. A couple of years ago, we worked really closely with South Cape York catchments to produce a water quality improvement plan. That water quality improvement plan sets out a range of implementation actions. The aims of these projects are really to support land managers to voluntarily adopt improved management practices. We have small-scale monitoring programs with the Lakeland horticulture producers and a couple of water quality monitoring sites on gully management activities, and with the aim being to improve our understanding of how effective these things will be to improve water quality into the future. The gully projects are funded through the Australian Government's Reef Trust, and the grazing project is part of the Reef Alliance. In terms of implementation to improve water quality in Cape York, we're really at quite an early stage of development. So the projects we're delivering at the moment have an education and training and capacity building component. The idea is that if we build capacity now, in the future we'll be able to deliver much bigger projects across a much larger area of the landscape.
Some fantastic things been happening. The delivery has been going really well. It's actually been very heartening to see the level of collaboration and cooperation that we've had from those delivery partners on the Cape.
One of our greatest achievements for 2016-17 was the establishment of the alliance with Northern Gulf and Terrain, regional NRM bodies.
That alliance is, at this point in time, has just been set up as a not-for-profit company. That new organisation will actually deliver services to all three regional bodies. So primarily corporate services, looking at those backroom services that our partners on the ground and our stakeholders don't even see.
That's a huge achievement because it means that as an organisation representing Cape York, we can focus on project delivery, on-ground work. Some of the key challenges that we face year in and year out in Cape York is the land mass. We've got a huge area to cover with a bucket of money to invest in the region that isn't growing. So it means our staff, our teams, our contractors have got to work harder, our land managers have got to work harder. Another challenge in Cape York is the diversity, the diverse cultures, the diverse people, the diverse industries. Our teams work hard and admirably, they do a fantastic job, but it takes time and it takes money to cover such a huge area. Our wet seasons are getting shorter, our dry seasons are getting longer, and we don't have the investment to address that.
Over the last 7 years, our funding has dropped significantly, and not just for Cape York NRM, but regional bodies across Australia. Levels of uncertainty around programs, about the focus and priorities that government have. The other one is uncertainty about a level of funding. We've gone from 5-year initial programs. With changes of government, they've dropped back to annual programs. There's just as much effort and time put into developing an annual funding bid for a program as there is for a 5-year bid. So it's a clear message to government, I think, that if we have the resources that we need to deliver, we could make a lot more difference on Cape York.
We had a performance excellence review, and this year, this last one, we scored top marks for, and I think that's evidence of just how hard our teams are working, our contracts are being delivered, and the people in Cape York are building their capacity and delivering to a very high standard. The future of NRM for Queensland is really exciting.
Cape York NRM really looks forward to the next year. We're really looking forward to working with those partners, continuing the positive outcomes that have been achieved over the last 7 years. So that's, there's a lot of bright sunshine in the future, a lot to be looking forward to. Cape York NRM would not have achieved what it has in the last year without its staff and board as well. I think we've really benefited from having a representative board where we've got all our directors, 10 of them live on Cape York. They're all closely connected to their community and their industries, and they're able to provide advice and support to help us make really good decisions.
It's evident that we're growing. Our reputation is becoming solid. So I personally, as the chairperson of Cape York NRM, want to thank all those people who've gone above and beyond into creating what we are becoming. Our future is looking good, it is looking strong, but we need to keep on working together.